Hey there. So, I thought I would make another video. Yes, about my books. Well, just one book for right now. It's my new one. I will show it to you right now. Right here. Brooklyn Rays, Livin Upstate. I thought I would tell you a little bit about what's in it, although I have in other videos, but I figured I'd go a little bit more detail on this one. So if I look down, it's because I'm looking at each chapter title just to do a little insight. So basically, I was born in Brooklyn. I was raised in Brooklyn. And the first part of my book is growing up in Brooklyn. And the first chapter happens to be from Brooklyn. So can you guess I'm from Brooklyn? I even have the accent, especially when I'm mad or frustrated, which thankfully isn't that often. But yes, I am from Brooklyn. I was born and raised there. I really enjoyed it as well. And I got to do lots of fun things with my family. Yes, I was very family oriented growing up. And I talk about that in my book. I talk about family vacations, and most of our family vacations were in the Catskills, upstate New York. I honestly don't know why, but we did, and it was a lot of fun for the most part. And so I write about that in the book, and about our one family vacation to Florida, which was pretty fun. And there was one to Pennsylvania, but most of our family vacations were spent in the Catskills. And yes, I sat on a real turtle. I wrote about that in the book, and no, it wasn't any fun, at least not for me anyway, but if you read about the book, you'll find out why. Then there is getting my hair cut. Yes, I cut my hair when I was a little girl, when I wasn't supposed to, because I was impatient. You'll have to read about that in the book. Find out if my mom got in trouble with me or not. Then there is fixing cars with my dad. Yes, when I was little, I loved to fix cars with my dad. I don't know why. It was his time with me, my time with him. No, I didn't get to do much. Find out in the book what exactly I did. Then there's going to work with my mom. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, going to work with my mom growing up. She worked at a tire place. It was called Northeastern Tires. It isn't there anymore, unfortunately, but the owners were such nice people. I remember walking there by myself sometimes. I remember an entire summer of going with her and actually getting paid. Read about it in my book. Then there's changing my name. Yes, when I was little, I didn't like my given name, which is Kathleen. I made my family call me Kathy. If you want to know why, you have to read my book. Then we moved a couple of times. I don't remember exactly how many. I would say 4 to 6 times. I would not quote me right now, but if you read my book, you'll find out how many times, and you'll find out what parts of Brooklyn we moved to. Then there was my first funeral. That was an experience. That was a scary experience. My first funeral was my grandpa's funeral on my dad's side. It was Roman Italian Catholic, and it was something else. If you want to know about it, you have to read my book. Then there were family barbecues. Those were fun growing up for the most part. Those were on my mom's side of the family. They got interesting as I got older. Don't really want to go into specifics on that, but they definitely got interesting as I got older. When I was little, they were lots and lots of fun. When I was a teenager, my best friend came with me. After I got married, we chose not to go anymore. Read my book and you'll find out why. Then there's part 2, living in upstate. Country living. Yeah, that took a bit for me to get used to. No streetlights, country roads, very dark at night. Getting my car stuck in a snowdrift, that wasn't fun. And there's lots of other things too. You're gonna have to read my book to find out the rest. Then there's being a mom, which for me is fantastic, wonderful. so many other adjectives that I could use, but I just love being a mom. And yeah, read my book and find out exactly why. Then there are fall colors. And since we are in October, this is the best time of the year to see the fall colors, obviously. And they're absolutely beautiful. And yeah, you have to read my book to find out why. Then there's the winter weather up here, and it gets cold. And yes, I absolutely love it. Why? Because I love the cold. I love the snow. I love watching the snow fall. I love snow days. I love walking in the snow, kind of, sort of. I love wearing my winter boots. I love wearing my sweater tops. I really don't like driving in the snow, though. And then there's Christmas time. And the Christmas tree. And, yep, you're going to have to read my book to find out the rest. Then there's the mountains. Oh, we have such beautiful mountains in upstate New York. They're wow. I mean, seriously, they are just wow. Yes, I know other states have the mountains, and they are very pretty. Some of them are beautiful, but I'm very biased, and I think upstate New York has the most beautiful mountains I've ever seen, at least in our country. Read my book, find out why. Then there are county fairs. Those are interesting. Those are really interesting. My very first one was after my husband and I got married, and I did have a lot of fun. After a while, we did have to stop going to them just because of people liking to roughhouse, but then a couple of years ago, we started going back again, and we were able to have fun again. But they are interesting. Yeah, you're gonna have to read my book to find out why. And then there's church family, my church family. I love my church family. They're always there for me. And I just love them. I love going to church with them. I love getting to talk to them. I love being friends with them on Facebook. And they're just there for me. I'm there for them. And yeah, you know it. You've got to read my book to find out the rest. Then there's part 3 of my book, which is called Goodbye Mom. That was hard for me to write. Why? Because I wrote it after my mom passed away. And she was really important to me. The first chapter in that part of my book is called Still. And I just talk about the stillness of God in that chapter, and realizing about when my mom was really sick and passing away, and I really couldn't do anything about it. And I remember one day folding clothes and trying to figure out why it was happening, but I really didn't have any answers. And there's a bunch of other things I wrote about being still. Yes, you have to read about it in my book. Yeah, then there's my mommy. A whole chapter dedicated to my mommy. Because she was my mommy. And she was my mom. She was my mother. She was my best friend till I met my husband. And she was a wonderful lady. I miss her so very much. Just read about her. Read about how we went to Macy's together in Manhattan. We went to F.A.O. Schwartz together in Manhattan. We went to stores together on Saturdays when I was growing up. Then I got to drive her around after I got my license when I was, I'm going to say 19, 20, thereabout. Had lots of fun doing that with my mom. So much fun I had with her. But yes, you're going to have to read about that in my book. You have to. Then there was that dreaded phone call. The phone call from my mom. The one right before she went into the hospital. The one where she said, I'm fine. The doctor just has to take care of my medicine. Yeah, there was way more to it than that, and I knew there was, but I couldn't get it out of my mom. That was a hard phone call. But I took it. I got it. Yeah, you're going to have to read about that in my book. And then there's saying goodbye. That was hard, saying goodbye to my mom. My last goodbye to her was she in the hospital, in hospice. She was just lying there in that bed. Life was pretty much gone. Saying goodbye to her was not easy. The tears I tried so hard to keep back because Well, my dad was in the room with me and I didn't want him to see me crying. And it was just hard. I mean, I know where she went. She went to heaven. And I know I'll see her again one day. But it was still hard because she's not here with me anymore. But you'll have to read about it in my book. You also have to read about the cook she was. Really, you have to read about that. And then there's all the firsts. The first birthday without her. The first Christmas without her. The first Easter without her. The first Mother's Day without her, when I realized I can't send her a Mother's Day card. That was hard. They were all hard. But I got through them. And yeah, you're going to have to read about that in my book. And then there's loss. Because I lost my mom. And I missed her. And I had to write about it because that's what I do. When something's hurting me, I write about it. And I ended up putting it in my book. But it helped me. Maybe it'll help you. So yeah, you know what you have to do. And then the last two are Dear Mom and Missing You. These are actually blog posts that I wrote. Well, I put them on my blog. But I thought they were very fitting for the end chapters of my book. Dear Mom is basically me sending a letter to my mom in a blog, but it was fitting for the book. And Missing You is telling my mom how much I missed her, or I still do miss her. And yeah, you have to read about it in my book because it's all there. And you might find my book really interesting. You might find about me growing up in Brooklyn interesting. Maybe you're from Brooklyn, New York, and you come from the same parts that I lived in. That'd be pretty cool, don't you think? Or maybe you're from the same part of upstate as me, or close by, or maybe you're wondering what upstate is like, and you can read about it in my book and find out. Or just find out about what a great mom I had. Yeah, I mean, she really was great. But I just wanted to give you a heads up about my book and tell you what it was about. So basically, it is in 3 parts. It is part 1, growing up in Brooklyn. Part 2, living in upstate. And part 3, goodbye, Mom. Again, my book is titled Brooklyn Raised, Livin Upstate. And that's really what the book is all about. See? You can get my book on the Kindle, on the Nook, in paperback. It's in the iBook store. It is in Kobo. To me, this is a good read. Yes, it is a memoir, but you might learn something about me. Well, you will definitely learn about something about me that you did not know before. And who knows, maybe we have something in common. But the only way you're going to find out is if you read my book. And I'm not begging you, but I am asking you to please consider reading my book because I think I did a good job writing it. You might think I did a good job writing it. You might get a really good laugh at some parts of my book. And some of it might make you cry. But there's only one way to find out. You gotta read my book. So, please, you know what to do. Get a copy. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.